Just wanted to share my story on how I found my purpose from the Lord and why I teach this. Now, in 2005, I was getting so fed up with my life. Everything looked great on the outside, but in reality, I was just so empty on the inside. I started to realize that everything I was doing and had done for the last few years had little to no meaning to it. I was chasing money for no reason, I was in a career that I didn't like, I had friendship circles that weren't healthy, and I was pursuing the same old things that everyone else was in the world that I really didn't care about. And I started to question whether I could keep doing this because it was just so draining to pursue things that now seemed so pointless. And in my heart, I desperately wanted change, but I didn't know what to do or what I was looking for. Out of frustration, I said to myself, what's my purpose in life? And so I had a decision to make, whether I was going to carry on with this journey or make a change and do something different. So shortly after that, I ended up making a fresh start, keeping things simple, trying to keep myself to myself, and everything seemed to be going okay, except for one big problem. I couldn't shake off this question of purpose. No matter how much I tried to ignore it, that thing plagued me day and night until one evening in January of 2006 when I was alone in my parents' living room. I was reading some materials that a friend had given me on someone's testimony. This person had ended up in prison and was describing how other people in prison were given the gospel, encountering God, and then giving their lives to Christ. Now, I wasn't from a Christian background, so I wasn't 100% sure what was happening, but it really impacted me. I had tears streaming down my face, but I was asking myself, why am I crying? Next thing I know, this presence fills the room, and I end up having my own encounter with God and giving my life to Jesus. This peace filled my heart like I'd never experienced before, and I felt like a brand new person. I was 25 years old, and it was the best decision ever. Now that week I got committed to a local church and pursued God and this thing called purpose. But it took around 2 years before I started to really understand what God's purpose was for his people, but I still wasn't sure what he was calling me to do specifically. It was only until I felt the Lord prompted me to start running leadership training at church with a friend of mine that I started to recognize what he was calling me to do. Now, as we were running these sessions and I was asking people about their purpose, no one had a clue what it was, and I was shocked. No matter where I went or who I spoke to, I had the same response, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. To me, these were the people of God who, unlike me, had grown up in a Christian family and had known God most of their lives. So I was thinking, surely they would know, and I just couldn't comprehend that they didn't. And it became a major burden for me. Couldn't stop thinking about it from when I woke up in the morning to when I went to bed at night, and it was literally pressing on me 24/7. And although I didn't want to admit it, because I was thinking, who am I to help people with this? I knew in my heart God was calling me to do something about it, which he then backed up with loads of confirmations. So I started running Destiny workshops, coaching sessions, spoke at events, did training in the weekly Bible classes, which I still do a lot of today. And over time, God helped me to develop a framework that made it much easier for believers to find their purpose. Now, I would love to solve many problems around the world, but as the Lord often reminds me, he's called others into those areas, and I'm there to help them find it and fulfill it. So my calling from God is to help his people not only discover his purpose for them, but empower them to become effective in bringing it into fruition so that we can see his kingdom come and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, massively impacting the world around us. And that can be done in the family sphere, business, education, government, media, and so much more. And I want to encourage you because I have seen so many people find their purpose from God over the years. Some have found it in a single workshop setting, whilst others have taken a few days to a few weeks, but certainly not anything close to what I went through. No matter how long it takes, you will find it if you pursue God for who he is, pursue the purpose he has for you for his glory, and be prepared to put the work in. It's an exciting journey, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And I want to thank you for listening to my testimony.